Your RV's AC isn't working, you think the control box might be the problem. Here's how to test a Coleman Mach air conditioner's control box. My name is Emily. I'm a certified mobile RV repair tech based in Las Vegas. This is RV Repairwoman. All you're gonna need today is a multimeter, some needle nose pliers, and some chutzpah. You got this. First, here's the anatomy of your control box. People who have taken RV Basics to Badass, my free RV beginners course, link in the description, will know that there are two types of electricity in RVs. AC power and DC power. This half of the control box is all of the DC power. This half of the control box is the AC power. The DC side is the brains telling the control box what to do, while the AC side is the brawn providing the more beefy power to actually turn things on. Here's how to test everything. First, we'll start with the DC side. At the thermostat, set your thermostat to cool and the fan to either high fan or low fan. Keep it off of auto when testing, just so you're in more control of what's going on. Then set your meter to DC volts and head up to your control box. Put your black probe on the blue wire, labeled B-, and your red probe on the yellow wire, labeled Y. You may have to pull back on the terminals a little bit with some needle nose pliers in order to expose enough metal to get your probes in there. That's totally fine. Keep going forward. You're looking for something in the realm of 12 volts on this yellow wire. This is the signal coming from the thermostat to turn on the compressor on your air conditioner. The compressor is the part that is actually doing the cooling. So throughout this video, if your air conditioner is turning on but not cooling, you're mostly going to want to follow power for the compressor. If you do not see 12 volts, then your problem is most likely not with your control box or even your air conditioner, but instead upstream. The most likely culprit is your thermostat, so check out this video where I walk you through step by step how to test your thermostat. If your problem is instead that the fan won't kick on your air conditioner at all, then we're going to be looking at the green wire if you are on high fan or the gray wire if you are on low fan. These wires are the signal coming from the thermostat to turn on the fan. So black probe on the blue wire and then red probe on either the green wire or the gray wire. And you're still looking for something in the realm of 12 volts. Just like with the yellow wire, if you do not see 12 volts, then your problem is most likely upstream. You can again reference this video on how to test your thermostat, your most likely culprit. But if everything is looking good so far, we're getting signal from the thermostat to turn things on, then the next thing we want to test is our freeze sense. Your freeze sense is supposed to do exactly what it says on the tin, and sense if your air conditioner is getting too cold and then shut it down before it hurts itself. It's basically just a fancy switch that's normally closed and lets signal through, but when it gets cold, it opens up and shuts everything down. To test if your freeze sense is your problem, we're actually not going to test the freeze sense itself, but where it plugs into the control box instead. This is because to actually test the freeze sense, we would need to get a resistance reading and then compare it to a table based on what temperature it is outside. It's much more difficult. Instead, you're just going to disconnect the freeze sense from the control box entirely. It's going to be the two wires going into the control box above the word freeze. Then short the two newly exposed terminals with a pair of needle nose pliers. If the air conditioner starts working when we short those two terminals and it wouldn't before, that means that the freeze sense is most likely your problem. Switch that bad boy out and you should be good to go. But if the air conditioner doesn't start working, then the freeze sense is most likely not your problem. Plug it back in and move on to the next step. Now that we've tested the DC side completely, we're going to move on to the AC side of things. Unlike in most of my tutorials where we start at the source and move from point A to point B to point C in a methodical fashion, this time we're actually going to start at the end of the line and work our way backwards. This is because the end of the line, at least for the control box, is much easier to test than the AC in. I hope that makes sense. So to test power coming out of the control box, we're going to disconnect this 9-pin connector, and then we're going to set our meter to AC volts and put one probe in the 1 pin and the other probe on the 3 pin. Your 9-pin connector may be rotated 90 to 180 degrees from how mine is, but the 1 and 3 pins will always be the corner pins on the bumpy side of the 9-pin connector. This is the AC out for the compressor on your air conditioner. So you should see something in the realm of 120 volts AC. We can do a very similar test with the 1 and 5 pin if we are on high fan, or the 1 and 6 pin if we are on low fan. And for the fan tests as well, we should also see 120 volts AC. If you do see 120 volts both on the compressor and for the fan, then the problem is most likely not with your control box, but instead somewhere up on your roof. I recommend that you head on over to rvrepairwoman.com/AC guides, where I have step-by-step tutorials that will walk you through how to diagnose every part of your air conditioning system. They're quick, they're easy to follow, and you can stop searching and combing through YouTube University and just get your problem solved today. Again, those are at rvrepairwoman.com/AC guides. You got this. But if you are not seeing 120 volts coming out of the control box, then the next thing we want to see if power is making it into the control box. So flip the box over onto its side, remove these 2 screws, and the top should come off, revealing the guts inside. Over here on the right should be 3 wire nuts. One for black wires, one for green wires, and one for white wires. This is the AC power coming in. So set your meter to AC volts and put your red probe in the wire nut for the black wires, and put your black probe in the wire nut for the green wires. You should see something in the realm of 120 volts. If you don't, then your problem is not with your control box, but instead upstream. I recommend checking your breakers, making sure we haven't tripped anything, and then also looking to see if other AC appliances in the RV are getting power. So do we have power to the microwave is usually the big tell, but also to your fridge on electric, or your water heater if it has an electric setting. And your outlets. See if your outlets all have power. There's a chance you have a more systemic problem and it's not actually with your air conditioner. If you do see 120 volts on these wires, that means we have power coming into the control box. But if we didn't see power on that 9-pin connector, that means power isn't coming out of our control box. And that means the thing in the middle, the control box, is most likely our problem. Switch that bad boy out and you should be good to go. If you're in a pinch, take a look over to the left side of your control box and you should see these little black boxes on the control board. Those are called relays. And inside those relays are essentially just fancy switches that open and close to let the AC power through. And there's a good chance that that switch is just stuck open. So sometimes you can get lucky and unstick that switch by just flicking the relay with your fingernail. This is usually just a temporary solution to get you through waiting for that new control box to come in. If it got stuck once, it's gonna get stuck again. But sometimes you can get lucky and unstick that sucker. Now, if you're still flummoxed and you do end up calling a tech, there's a chance that they are going to tell you that you need to get your air conditioner recharged. Check out this video for why I think that is a bad idea, along with 4 other things that I would never do in my RV. This has been RV Repair Woman. You got this.